replay. My name is Kendall. I am the community lead here at Riverside. And thank you all for joining as we're coming in and joining this meeting, this workshop. Feel free to introduce yourself in the chat. Let us know where you're watching from. And I always say that I'm very excited about this next session, but this time, once again, I mean it. I mean it, Ronnie. I'm not just trying to
Just
lift you up,
ruined it,
but
Kendall.
yeah, exactly. But every time I say that I'm super excited, but this time really I am. This one is a community workshop that is really by popular demand. We had a community workshop last month about editing, and this month, people from the community said that they want to actually hear our tips, tricks, hacks for the Riverside editor. So I thought, who better to bring in than the guy behind one of the many behind the editing product himself. This is Ronnie from our product team. He leads our Riverside editor product team. So hello, Ronnie. Thank you for joining.
So, hi everybody watching. Thank you for having me. Um, yeah, it's a pleasure to show you around the ins and outs of the editor.
Yes. And so, what we're going to be going through today is that we are going to be showing you how we really edit our videos so that you can. There are some things that, even that I do when I'm editing, that maybe I didn't realize are really tips and tricks that I have because I'm working with the editor every day. So, that's really what the session is born out of, is showing you the real tools, the real workflows that we use to help educate how you can go into the editor and do it yourself. So really excited to show you all of that. Also, let us know in the chat as we're going. Are you using the editor? Have you started using the editor before, or is this something that you really haven't done yet? So let us know how familiar you are with the editor in the chat. So Joel says he uses it weekly. We love to hear it. We love to hear it. Let me pull up a project that I have and show you exactly how I use the editor. So I will share my screen and we'll get started. Yeah. Ronnie's very excited. This is
I
his first time
am.
with me on.
I am.
Yeah, good. He doesn't say this for every session like I say this for every session. So, okay, we're going to be talking about the editor, and so I know that there is the Made For You tab, and we're going to be going through all of the Made For You tab. We're going to be showing you, basically the Made For You tab is our AI edits, so hooks, magic segments, your magic full episode, all of that. But I know that a lot of you are doing it kind of DIY, using the AI tools that are in the editor, but kind of starting from a blank slate. So I want to show you what my flow is, and then we'll kind of go through and explain each thing. So I'm going to start with this create button over here and jump into the editor. This is for a webinar that I did. So there's screen sharing, there's me full screen, my guest full screen, and I'm just going to show you what I do with it. So here is my editor. And we have videos that I can send to you that really go through every single tool. But this session is just about our favorite tools and maybe some hidden ones that you might not be familiar with. So first things first when I'm using the editor is that my personal workflow is that I go through the entire transcript as I am watching the video through in full the first time. And so while I'm doing that, I'm making my edits, doing the things that I know that I want to cut out. But the first thing that I'm doing is following along with this transcript. Sometimes, a little trick here if you don't know, is you can go to the playback speed and I'll watch the first cut at 1.5 or 2, depending on what I want to do. Maybe 1.8 next time, just to have a happy medium. But so I'll go through at 1.5 speed. And the trick there is that I'm doing that when I'm not making my audio edits. When you're making your audio edits, you should be listening at 1 time speed. But this is really just to do like a first pass through and make those bigger chops. So while I'm doing that, the reason I'm telling you that I'm doing this is because I'm going through here, and any time that there's a moment that I want to clip here, I will, let's say, highlight it. Let's just say it's this part. And I'm going to press this button right here that says Create New Edit. So what that does is that only the part that I highlighted becomes its own new edit. So I can decide, oh, that's a really funny moment. I want to clip that and put that on social media. And it makes the whole process for me a lot faster. So this is kind of like one of my favorite hidden buttons that I'm showing you here. So I'll just press create new edit, and it'll bring this pop-up that comes to the top, and you'll see that all of these are different edits that I created. So if I want to jump between one or the other, like, oh, that's the clip that I wanted to create, I could just jump into that, and then I could jump right back into my full episode. That's over here. If I'm having trouble and I'm creating a bunch of different cuts here, what I can do is I can go in and rename it. Let's rename this one and say this is full episode. Maybe if I have a clip over here, this is, let's just call it funny clip. And so that's usually what I start doing. So as we're going through the full episode, oh, I just clicked into a different full episode. That's number one that I'm doing. So, Ronnie, are there any tricks that you have for that I might not have covered?
I can only say that, within, if you select again some text and look at the three dots menu on the right, there's also the option to keep only this. So if you are just, you don't really care about the full episode, you just want to now find a moment and just zero down on it, you don't need to create a new edit and pass to that one. You could just keep only this. It will remove everything else but this part.
Mm-hmm. I also want to say, and I forgot to add this too, that when you highlight that part, so for me, when I'm trying to just go really fast, I'm not highlighting exactly what I want the clip to be. Like maybe I want it to be a little bit longer than what I highlighted or a little bit shorter. You can still go in to the clip that it creates for you and change that in and out point. So you still get to really just like drop and drag where you want that clip to start and end. So sometimes if you're editing, like I'm on a laptop right now, so my screen's like a little bit compressed, then I don't have to worry about clicking and dragging and highlighting exactly what I want in the clip. You still get that flexibility when you make that new clip. So that is the first thing that I'm doing. And then after I'm done all of that, and I'm like, okay, now I'm ready to make my full episode. First thing I'm doing over here for the full episode is I'm pressing AI tools, and then I'm going in and doing the smart layouts. And a lot of you may already know about smart layouts, and that is basically our AI identifies moments where you go full screen or grid or screen share and makes like a much more dynamic moving video. But the cool part that we just added, that Ronnie's team just added, is that if you press this button right here, this arrow, you now have a toggle that can change the rhythm of all of those cuts. So let me zoom in on my timeline to show you what I mean. So here is every scene, and I can change this toggle, and you'll see at the bottom that it adapts to how many scenes are created. So you're able to go in and switch that. Ronnie, can you explain this mixed views, all
Yeah,
speakers, don't
sure.
switch?
So
Yeah.
there's a lot going on behind the scenes in smart layouts. Um, it actually is a smart algorithm that both shows the speaker when they speak, also would switch to a grid view when there is some crosstalk. And another thing that it does is when somebody speaks for so and so long, and that's controlled by the rhythm, uh, it would switch to an alternate shot. And this drop down here chooses what the alternate shot is. So if you were to speak like you sometimes tend to do, Kendall, for a while, uh,
Uh-huh. I
it
love to talk.
it's fine, we love it. Uh,
Thank you.
I can choose what will happen when it's time to switch. Will it always switch to show the grid view? Or will it switch to show me nodding? Or will it switch to mixed views, means it switches to grid, and then next time it will switch to me. And then the following time it will switch to grid as well, again. Or just don't switch. And don't switch will actually mean we're only going to see the speaker when they speak and grid view when there is some crosstalk going on. So it's, I think I just encourage you to play around with it because this will give you a lot of power. And the rhythm also controls a few properties. So how fast the camera switches will be across all the different algorithms going on. So is it going to be very abrupt, which would be probably good for shorts, or is it more relaxed and it's just going to switch to give some dynamic but not be too, disruptive?
Nice. I actually am learning along here with you guys because I did not know what that tool did. But if you also have questions about different things in the editor while you're using it, a lot of them do come if you hover over it with this little tooltip that can tell you a little bit more about each feature, just kind of while you're going. But that is really cool. I didn't know that. I'm learning along with you guys. And you're learning that I like to talk. So that's good. Anyway, the next tool that
Actually,
I love to use. Hmm?
a good tip. I'm not sure if like we were planning to say this later, but if you don't like when a switch happened, you can just go into the timeline and move that scene break a bit. So the
Yes.
camera switch will happen exactly where you want it to happen.
And that's huge because I think that, especially with a lot of AI features and the work that a lot of you are doing, you want to use them, but you're also like, I want to have full control of what this looks like because it's something that you're passionate about and something that you're working hard on. So, for example, as you were saying, like you change the scenes here, but let's say that I don't want this particular scene to be like this. I can drag the in and out point still. I can click on it when it turns purple and click that trash can icon and really just still be able to play around with it. And we're going to go deeper into scenes in a second because there's a lot to do here as far as design. We have new save scenes, so there's really a lot to talk about here. I want to just say that for the AI tools, one, I'm doing smart layouts, and then after that, I'm doing smart mute. And so smart mute will apply, I apply it. And so basically, when you're not speaking or your guest isn't speaking, it mutes them. And so, for example, I had a guest on and they had a lot of like kind of white noise in the background, like a lot of background noise, maybe a fan whirring. And it really bothered me that you could still hear it when I was speaking. Or I had another guest, I don't know who else can relate, but they were wearing wired headphones. And every time they nodded, even when they weren't speaking, you could hear that kind of hit their shirt. So I just apply smart mute and it makes for a lot more of a crisp, clear sound. And if the smart mute accidentally mutes something that you want them to be able, like you want to hear from them, you can still, while it applies, press on this expand tracks and really just go in, let's say over here, and I want to show a little bit more of this or something. If I'm speaking here, I can drag that in and out point. So again, an AI feature, but you're able to still have the control over that. Ronnie, was there anything I missed in that one?
No, that was perfect.
Amazing, thank you. I knew there wasn't. I just wanted that validation. There's also filler words. A cool thing about that, I honestly keep filler words just because I think that it goes with the natural flow of conversation. But if you have somebody that's saying and every other word, that's not so fun to listen to. So you can remove the filler words. But a cool new feature. It's from how long? You guys have been moving so fast, so it might be like a month ago or 2 months
Couple of
ago, but
months,
it might
yeah.
have been, yeah. So you can press this little drop down bar over here. So that little arrow. And now we have a smart removal method. So basically, the idea here is that sometimes if you're saying like or like you can't really see on my mouth that I was saying it just looks that I have my mouth open. So if you have a long it'll cut it out completely. But we found that your videos could get really jumpy if you're just cutting out every single and ah. So sometimes if it's a shorter and it will be muted instead. So it really helps with the flow of the video so that it doesn't look all the time like there are these jump cuts. It just kind of smooths it out a bit more. Has anyone, let me know in the chat if anyone's tried out this smart feature. But I personally, for me, when I am using remove filler words, it's been really a game changer because it makes the video a lot less choppy. So that's what I do. Yes, John Adams says he loves it. Thanks, John. I could always depend on you. So,
Kendall, if I may, if you were
yeah,
to
of
choose
course.
cut in that
Hmm.
drop down,
Let's do it.
you get more options for sensitivity.
Ooh.
Now you can choose the duration of filler words that you want to remove or not remove. So another sort of intricate control of over how much you want to remove or not. So you can remove
That's
all of them, the
amazing.
very short ones, or if you, so my preference would actually be, if you don't like the muting, though I think it's really nice, you can just go for cut and just the long ones.
Oh, sorry if my screen paused for a second. Great. I am definitely going to try that out because that is something that I think is hard with removing filler words is that you don't want it to sound too choppy. So it's really cool to have the sensitivity slider. Again, I'm learning so much from this. This is so exciting. Um, so, what should we move on to? The next thing that I'm doing when I'm editing a video, I'm really going through what my workflow is that I really like to, and maybe this is like the old news, like the old news reporter in me, but I really like to show, and I'm scrolling all the way to the beginning. I really like to show at the beginning a little slider that comes on that has my name so that I can introduce myself. And if you're watching the replay of this, which yes, there will be a replay available, I always have this on all of my replays. So something that I love to do is basically I'll have my name move in and out of the frame. And I think that it looks really nice when it has movement to it. So there are two ways to do this. One is that you go over to text and you can type that in. But the way that I like to do it is I know that I want my name to come in at a specific time. And this is one of my favorites. So what I do is I'll highlight, my name's Kendall, I'm the community manager here at Riverside. We have a special session today. And I'll press add. And then I'll press text, but you could do this for images, video, music. What it does is it adds an element that's only for the part that you highlighted. So I know the in and out points. Instead of having to drag them on my timeline, I can just press text here, have my speaker. I'm going to zoom in, and I'll have Kendall Brightman, community manager. And I want to make this left justified, so that's what I'll do because I like to put it in that corner. And then a cool thing that I do is I do this animation. So I'm going to have it slide in right, and I already have this set in my brand kit, which we'll show you later. So I'm going to have this slide in right and slide out left so that it comes in and out of the shot. So I'll show you what that looks like. Who is tuning in? My name is Kendall, and I am the community manager here at Riverside. So you can see it slide right in, and then I would take out this cut, and then have it slide back out exactly when I want it to. You could do that for images also, and it's just a trick that makes the editing process so much easier for me. And Ronnie, do you have anything to add with that? I think with images, correct me if I'm wrong, that if you choose images, it also might suggest images that are based on the content that you highlighted.
Right. Yeah, it already picks up on something relevant to what you highlighted, and the text also, if it's just a strong kind of moment that you kind of want to put on as a quote, for instance, it's also just already there in the text panel. When you highlight it, you just have that already in the text panel. You can show it here.
Oh, so hold on, yeah. Let's do excited to have you here.
Yeah.
Add text. Oh, and so right over here on the smart styles, you can see that they're already here. And if you want to set your brand, we'll go into the full brand kit later, but if you want to set it like I did so that whenever I show speaker names, it does that, what I did was I went to the brand panel. Under textiles, I did speaker, and I set the animation slide right in, slide right, slide left. So you can set it so that anytime you choose speaker, it'll slide in like that. So for me, I do that, and if I have somebody that's on the other side of the screen, I'll just change that animation really quickly, but really quick hack that I like to do. And it also works for videos. I see that question in the chat, that if you highlight it, it'll also recommend specific videos as well. So this kind of leads me to, with animations and sliding in and out, Ronnie, do you want to share your screen and talk a little bit about a new favorite feature of mine, which is the save scenes?
I do indeed. So
okay.
Let's just
I'll stop sharing.
pick it up.
Awesome. And then we'll keep going through because there is a lot to go through.
Okay. Are you seeing my screen?
Yes, I see me, which is, we love to see it.
Okay, so let's say I'll just delete this one. Let's say we'll go. I'm sorry for actually using already um, another webinar that you actually did. So let's actually recreate what you just did. So say I want to show speaker name, and it added my name, but instead we'll say Kendall. Sorry for not giving you any title here. And let's actually put you on full screen here. So, and also, yeah, let's also animate up and then kind of fade out. So if you like this specific setup,
Just feed. So you're gonna
I
need
nice. So what
Ooh,
you
I
can
like how
do,
it goes up. I've never tried that. I want to do that for the next one.
yeah, you always right and left. There's so much more to
There's so
like.
much more I can do.
Uh, so what if you wanted to show the name of your guest come up every so and so throughout the episode? Instead of going to any other place I want to do this and then adding that text and the animation and all of it and then making sure it's in the right place, etc., what you can do is open the scene panel and just hit save scene. Once you've done that, you actually have that scene saved right here. Um, the overlay, the text doesn't really start here in the beginning, so you don't see it, but I'll show you that if you go over to, let's head over to somewhere else where you speak, like right here. And now I can just hit open that panel and just select that scene, and there we go. We have exactly the setup that I've saved. I can just reapply it again anywhere with just a click. And I
This
can
is
say, yeah,
oh,
let's
no, no,
pause.
no. Keep going. I was gonna say I was just excited because this is huge. This is so many people have been asking
This
for.
is such a
Yeah.
power up to for efficiency, right?
Hmm.
Um, and this goes, uh, it's the overlays. If I were to add an image on top, if I were to change the layout, for instance, to something like this, and then let's go right here and put the text here and maybe add the captions, and I would be saving this. It would save this entire layout to be reproducible anywhere else with just a click.
That's
Super easy.
amazing. It saves so much time because like I know that there's a certain way that I like my webinars to look, for example. And so what I used to have to do is go through scene by scene and make those changes, and it was really, I mean, that's usually what we hear from people, and I know that you hear this all the time, Ronnie, is that how long it takes for editing, and that's I think a big pain point for people is like kind of the tediousness of editing. And
Right.
I think that this really just completely changes that because it becomes one click when you save all of your templates.
Yeah, and I see a question. Yes, this would save the scene's layout. So if I save the scene and what it looks like, the layout and the entire like design of it, if a scene is just 1 second long and I save that and I apply it to one which is a minute long, it will not change that scene. It will just apply that like the layout and the overlays and everything. It's meant to be very smart and not break, but just power up.
So yeah, and so for example, like I like to do kind of the circles that when I'm screen sharing, kind of a circle in the side, and I like to make it bigger, and I like to have like a little bit of like a purple background. And so instead of having to set the size of the circle and the shape of it and everything, I save that scene. Every time there's a screen share, I click into it, press that save scene, it's applied, and it has really cut down hours of my editing time. So really exciting new feature that we've added. Also, yeah, it saves the background design. It'll save the positioning. It's incredible. So very excited about that. All right, I'll take the screen share back. I'll take this back and keep going on my flow. So speaking of these scenes that I'm talking about, a big tip that we shared in the last workshop, but actually want to just reiterate also here, is that a tip that I like to do for all of my scenes is that instead of creating this jump cut where suddenly I'm like you can see where somebody's cut out, so like cut out a piece of it. So one moment I'm talking like this, and then it kind of jumps. That's a jump cut. So how to avoid that, and something that I'm doing for every one of my videos. So let's say over here, I want to cut out, let's to just really show the jump cut. Let's say that right here, I want to click in here to myself, but I want to cut out this one part where Ross jumped in. So I'll delete that, and you'll see right here how this looks. So that. Oh, you see that like little jump that just happened? Just for anyone who that doesn't know jump cuts, it's just that. Okay. So sometimes that doesn't look so great. So instead, what I like to do is here's the cutout part. I'm going to zoom in even more. And I'm just going to put this cursor right here and add a scene. And right where I made that cut, I'm going to go to grid. So instead of having that bad looking cut, what happens is I'll go like this. Okay. And awesome. It switches the scene. So every time, if I have a filler word, if I removed a silence or something like that, I'm always making a cut I'm always changing the scene right after that cut. Let me know in the chat if that's something that you're doing as well. But that's just something that I picked up when I was working in journalism, that's just a TV trick that I learned, is that every time that there's a cut, I put a scene right after that. And it makes it a much smoother video.
Kendall, if we're speaking about tricks to hide the jump cut, another thing you could do is change the crop. If you don't want to show a grid view here, you could still show you, but change the crop, and you can actually make it even more interesting. Like use it when relevant, when you're actually saying like a kind of a strong sentence, or the like dynamic in the content itself.
Exactly. Yes. So let me show you what that would be, because I also agree. Especially like I record a lot of solo recordings when I'm announcing features, and I use this all the time. So let's do a bigger cut right here, and I'll show you that like I'm talking. Awesome. Oh, that one doesn't. I'm looking at the chat this whole time. So I'm just going to use this one as an example because I'm right here. Let me know in the chat. So you see that jump cut again, but maybe actually I want to do it. I'm going to show you a better example. I'm going to do it in the beginning. So let's delete this scene. And let's say in here that I deleted this part. So and if I'm talking today, and you see that jump cut. So what I'll do instead is I'll go right here, click add scene, highlight this video box, and do crop. I'll zoom in. I like to do you could do it however you want. I like to do a kind of dramatic one, because I see it a lot on social media too. It really just draws attention. Make sure this is clicked to this scene, and then I will click out of it. It'll save that. And so it's have a question today, because we are doing, so it smooths out that cut a little bit more. It's not going to be the same as when you have a guest on, and so you can really just switch those camera shots and everything. But that's really helpful. Another trick is if you use your phone or your iPad or tablet to create a second camera angle. That is key for if you're doing solo recording, because you can always jump between full screen of each of those cameras. So I see a question, is there a way to do a slow zoom in a scene? I would love to do that for clips. Ronnie, want to take that one?
Not yet, but stay tuned.
That is a great answer. We are also always listening to your feature requests. There's going to be a time at the end where I want you to all drop some requests into the chat, because we're going to be downloading this chat and going through it later, because it's really important to us that we're creating an editor that works for all of you. So always listen to your feature requests. This is how Ronnie and I became best friends, is because I always come to his desk and give him the feature requests verbally rather than just through Slack messages, so that there's more impact,
Again and again and again.
Yeah.
Until it's
again.
done.
And then we have saved scenes. I'm kidding.
And then
I won't take credit for that one.
No, thank you.
Yeah, exactly. They'll thank me. So another just like trick here for anyone for when you're editing is just to really like make sure that you're playing around with this expand and collapse tracks in case you don't know about that. So then you can really go in and like over here, there's a little bit of crosstalk. Maybe I want to delete this part. So you're really able to go in and make those more granular edits. But something that I was pretty new to me. A couple, actually, I'll say it's maybe even a couple months from before. But John actually shared this with me from the community. That if you go over to this left side and you want to jump around in your recording, you see how I just highlighted these lines at the side? Those are your chapters. So if I want to skip through and like, okay, I've already gotten the intro done and I got the first part done, I want to just jump right to here. It will quickly jump you to that part in your recording. So a lot of cool little, just some added tools and functionalities that just make it easier and faster to edit, along with the playback speed, which I talked about earlier, but just setting that over here. I want to also talk about captions. So, Ronnie, do you want to take that one and talk about captions per scene and saving presets and stuff like that?
Right. Yes,
All right.
definitely.
All right, let me stop sharing my screen. So basically, behind this is that when we captions have been something that has we've really been continuing to iterate on as we go, and so with social media, just as with accessibility in general, captions have become increasingly important, and they really are such a big part of your video. A lot of people are maybe listening to your clips sound down, so being able to have full control of those captions and make them look great is so important, but can be such a time-consuming part of the process. Positioning them every time, making the design look right. So that's something that we've been working on to make that even easier and faster to do. So,
Right.
Ronnie, take it away.
Yeah, thank you. So imagine this was like a sort of an intro, which maybe you filmed some in a different location, or you filmed after the recording. Like today, we're gonna have Ronnie on and so forth. So it's the opening. I'm just setting up a use case for this. It's the opening for your episode. So what you might want to do is just in this scene. So you've seen this already. You have the control for this scene, similar scenes, and all scene. Just in this scene, you can choose actually to go wild. So to change the the captions font, maybe let's change the size. You can actually open up from here the preset panel, and so where you can choose one of our suggested kind of ready-made preset styles to go. And then I think maybe I just messed it up a bit, but what you can do is just move the captions and change their style just in this scene and leave them as is anywhere else. Another thing you could do is to also just go right here on the three dots and hide them from just this scene. So now I have my captions in the rest of the scenes, and maybe just in the opening I don't want any captions. So a lot of flexibility around the captions. You can do it as many times as you like. You could also, for instance, let's go here. You're not saying anything here? Yeah, so let's maybe do anytime it's the two of you in a grid view, we'll put the captions right here and change it to similar scenes. When you change to similar scenes, you see on the timeline, that's a nice tip, the scenes that will be affected by the change that you are actually doing right now. So right now, I changed this to all the scenes where both of you are on screen. So in this scene, when there's just Steven, it's right here.
Tags,
And then,
which we can get into when we talk about the how many T's is it?
yeah, so you can really set this up the way you like. This comes in very handy when it comes to 9 by 16, where often, if the captions are here, then when you have one person on screen, that might be right and on their face. So again, similar scenes, just bring it over here and you're done.
And there also, I mean, there's a lot here, but there's also, you're able to add them to your favorites, right? Did you show that?
Right. So of course, let's go back to maybe 16 by 9. So yeah, if you were to really get more intricate, you say I really love this style, let's change the size a bit, and I want them maybe other alignment or anything else. So what I can also do is favorite or add to my brand. When I favorite them, that means I will find them in my favorites in the captions panel wherever I open it. Um, and if I want to add them to my brand, that would mean add them to my brand, add it to brand, and now if I go over to brand, I will see that this is the caption style I've set in my brand. So just quick ways. Favorite is just a way to, yeah, I like these and I can repeatedly use them, or just set them in my brand so they are always used easily.
Nice. And something that I do want to show, because somebody had posted this question, um, the question right here, how do you make the captions start after the intro? So I want to start sharing my screen again because I want to show a quick tip for intros and then sharing captions with not sharing captions during the intros. So, okay, back here to my webinar. Something that I like to do, and a little bit of an unsung hero over here, is this plus button in the beginning. So, you have the recordings, you can add your recordings, your edits, your uploads, have some music. But I want to show you a little bit about empty section because I think that that is something that a lot of people aren't really aware of. So, empty section is going to be literally a blank slate. It is just a black box, and you can do whatever you want with it. So, if I didn't have all of these scenes, like I would apply the smart scenes afterwards, but for the purpose of this, here we are. So, what I like to do is you can kind of create your own intro if you want. So, if I want, I can go to images. Um, let's say this is my cover art. I'm just looking for something that's 16 by 9. I'll do that, make it full screen, and when I zoom into here, I'll make sure that this is aligned with the amount of time over here. Maybe I want to add some music in. That'll be my intro music and some text that says, like, my webinar or something. I mean, my podcast. You'd make this look a lot better than I'm doing right now, please. But please do that. But I'm just doing this quickly. So I'll put this over here, snap it into place. And so for this part, for example, I wouldn't want to have any captions or anything. So maybe sometimes, like, for example, I would, like, if this is a video and it has captions playing, I can click into the captions there and hide those captions. But what it does is that it creates this little intro and then it flows right into, with some background music, my episode. So that's something that I like to do. It's a little, I know that people are creating their own intros in Canva, things like that, but there are a lot of tricks that you can use if you want to just keep it all in Riverside. So that's just another something that I like to do. Um, Zach had asked, can you add captions to only one scene like the intro? Ronnie, do you want to take that?
I think we will bring more improvements to actually make it simpler. But yeah, what you can do is actually remove them from any of the scenes you don't need them in,
Mm.
or just save a scene with captions, not use captions at all anywhere else. Save a scene with captions. Just remove the captions from your edit, and then apply that saved scene with the captions to where you want it. So as the editor gets more complex, there are kind of a lot of ways to get to where you want. I think that would be the easiest and simplest. Just save that scene, use it just that.
Oh, that's a
Just
really
where
cool
you need it.
workaround. Yeah, that's a really cool workaround. Um, Another kind of workaround here is that Grant had asked, can you save that intro to use in other videos? So yes, what I would do, this is also another workaround, is that let's say that I would want to split this, or I would want to delete. Basically, what I would do is delete, you see over here, these three dots. I would remove the rest of it. I would change this to be called intro, and I'd export it. And so then that would be saved under my exports so that I can use that as my intro anytime that I want. I label it intro. It's easy to go back to and take that if I would
You
like to.
actually don't really have to export it either,
Oh,
Kendall. What you can
oh,
do
tell
is
me
just
more.
save it as an edit, and you can import any edit anytime into any other edit.
Oh, wow.
And
Well,
that way you can even have your intro be like Kendall's show and have a placeholder for the name of the episode. And every time you bring it in, just change the name of the episode in that instance.
that's awesome. That's great. Um, we were asked to show us. Okay, so how would you do that? You would go in and just let's
Do the
delete
same,
this,
remove everything else.
remove. Okay, it's
Just
intro. It's saved
change
right over here.
the,
You can
yeah,
see.
intro. It's saved, right.
And then can I do it in
Go to
this edit or
another
would it?
edit.
I would have to go to another. Okay. Oh, I could have just gone right. I can go over to like right here.
Right.
Yeah. And then go
Hit that
over that plus
plus.
sign,
Edit.
edits, and then
Right, this intro
there are a
should be
million in here. There's my
here.
intro. Yeah, very
Just
cool.
that.
I'll click on it. Amazing. Very cool. Yeah, and then it's right over here. This is now a little bit like I'll just have to drag this a little bit because why is that? Oh, it's because of this little thing.
It's all cut out.
Yeah, so I'll remove that and then there we go. Snapped into place. There it is. Very cool. Awesome. What else do we have here? Um, I want to also talk about audio editing because I know that we're talking a lot about these different video features, but I know that a lot of you are also doing audio only. So, something that we touched on a little bit in our last session, but I want to bring that up here too, is that in the tracks, let's say that somebody has some pretty bad audio. So, you have the magic tools, like you have magic audio, so you can create a better sound. So, you can use so you can apply magic audio and then kind of use this toggle to adjust how much you want to apply that magic audio. So a lot of you are familiar with that. But what I want to also show you is a kind of cool hidden feature that within tracks, let's say that I want to go over to Ross, there's now EQ presets. So I want to turn on the EQ and it gives you a little bit of a description of what it does for every one of these. So, crisp and clear makes voice bright and airy, great for a fresh sound. Muffle free, maybe you have a little bit of a muffled sound, you want to do muffle free. So, you can actually just apply that and listen right away to hear the differences in the audio and play around with that. If you want to get even more granular with it and not use specifically a preset, you can open the CQ setting and you'll see right here, it says muffle free. So it's already kind of have the basis for this one, but you can move things around, play around with it, and make sure that it's exactly how you want it to sound. So even just more ways to make your audio sound as great as possible. Anything to add to that one, Ronnie?
Um, just one little thing around that, which is actually something that can solve a problem that you may have noticed. Um, you see that little sort of drop down at the bottom of the track panel, lip
Mm-hmm.
sync slightly off.
Oh, yes. Yes. Let's go
So
into that.
sometimes, and this is a very inherent problem in audio and video, you may have latency issues when you're connecting external mics and external cameras, and there may be an inherent latency issue that will just come up in all your recordings. So you can just go over here and play around with giving a little nudge to the audio, plus or minus, to fix that sync issue within the track.
Mm-hmm. This has saved me, especially when you're plugging in, like, if there's a bunch of different equipment. I started using a different kind of streamer, different kind of interface, and I didn't know until after I recorded that it had caused some issues, some sync issues for me. This saved me. So, yeah, I don't like to use it, but if you have to, it's great to have. So those are all of the different tools that I am using. But then at the end, something I let me know in the chat if you've tried the co-creator. So I just want to take a moment to highlight this really quickly, and then I'm going to go to move to some Q&A. But over in the co-creator, so a lot of you know for the co-creator, it's kind of like our AI chat assistant that can you can ask to add mute, but you can ask to add music. You can ask to cut out different parts. You can ask to change the volume, that kind of stuff. But some things that maybe you don't know that it can do. So, for example, we have an entire music library of royalty-free music, but maybe I don't want to go through and add music and like look through every single one of my options. So I could even just say, add some jazzy music to the intro of this episode and do that. It'll take a second to think. And then, oh, jazzy music isn't recognized. That is something that worked for me right before. But I can say, for one of them I wrote, this isn't in this recording, I don't feel like going to find that recording, but for one of them we were talking about dogs. I said, in the part where we talked about dogs, add some B-roll of dogs. Ronnie, do you want to take over and show this one?
Yeah, of course.
All right.
Let's give it a go. Let's open up Co-Creator. I'm not sure what you guys talked about here, but let's try.
I think we were talking about YouTube in this one.
Add some music when you speak about capturing the audience. The
I don't know if we
audience's
spoke about that.
attention. You think you'd spoke about something on that?
Maybe. We'll try it. I might not have spoken about that. This is from our old office, I can tell by the studio.
Let's see if it's gonna find something like that, because I'm really winging it here.
Yeah, the other day I did add some ads. Oh, we talked about capturing the audience's attention.
Right, so and it already jumps directly to that place where it added the music, and there we go. So where did we land?
Because if I just look at the view counts of 4 recent episodes, when that title.
So yeah, you're speaking about view counts, and already there's some fade in and fade out applied by co-creator. So just a quick way to put some, add some emotion to a moment. Really, really nice. You could also do the same when it comes to images. So yeah, I see here speaking about iPhone, add an image of a phone and speaking about iPhone. Let's see if that's gonna work.
I did this with dogs the other day. I was like, do a fun picture of a dog when I'm speaking about dogs, and it worked. But there's also a lot of different things you could do. You could create thumbnails from your episode using this. You can ask it to cut out different parts, like cut out the part where we were discussing our microphones not working. Like there are just ways that you can really just speed up your editing process by doing this. And yeah, I see the iPhones right there.
Right. So it definitely did work. One thing sometimes I nail it exactly and sometimes I don't. So one thing I think is very powerful for it to do is ask it to add the name of the chapter for whenever a new chapter starts. Let's see if it's going to do that. Sometimes I don't nail exactly the prompt to actually make it happen well.
Oh, it worked.
Yeah. So
Nice.
this is really a power up to get more efficient and just quickly do a lot of things. So you could also ask it to add images here and there wherever is an interesting moment to add an image, and just really quickly spice up your edit.
Amazing. So we were going to go through the Made For You tab, but we're actually running 10 minutes until the top of the hour. So I want to get a few questions in here, but I will just give a really quick overview if you go over to the Made For You tab, or I'll do it. I'll go over to the Made For You tab. So let me share my screen. So in the Made For You tab, I'll go back to it. You'll also find if you are really trying to work even faster and not go into into the editor from scratch, but have kind of a basis to start with, you'll find in the Made For You tab your magic episode. And Ronnie, you could speak about what's automatically applied there. But there are show notes over here already generated for you with a summary, timestamps, titles, sound bites. But what you can really do for any of these, I'll show in a second, is personalize them. So maybe all my magic episodes, I want to apply smart layouts. So I have that here. I can apply my branding or add the hook, remove pauses, excuse me, remove filler words, smart mute. So I can do all of that, and I can do that for my magic clips, hooks, magic segments. So I'll keep scrolling down the page to show you what that is. Magic clips over here, as you know and love, are our AI generated clips that are great for sharing on social media and identify the most engaging parts of your recordings. We also have new magic segments, and those are basically a response to an industry trend that we're seeing, that there's a lot of content that people like to watch and that YouTubers encouraging that's between that 9 by 16 short of like 60 seconds, but not exactly your full hour episode. So it takes segments of your conversation. So these are all around 3 minutes, but I believe they could be up to 10. Correct me if I'm wrong, Ronnie.
Right, right.
And then awesome. And then over here you have hooks. So I love to have hooks in my episodes. So we'll take a really interesting thing that you or your guest said. Very quick. These are, you could see this one's 13 seconds. And I could just put that in the beginning of my episode to really just like hook you into my episode, play the intro, and then keep on keeping on. Some snapshots down here. So that's really a very quick run through of the Made For You tab. I want to
And,
answer a few questions. Oh, yeah.
and the best hook is already pre-added to your magic episode, so your magic episode just starts with a bang.
Oh, wow. Yeah, so that's new. That's in the last couple of days. Am I right on that?
Yes.
Yes. So whenever you have a new magic episode, it's automatically going to have the best hook for you. So the work is already done for you there. So I want to answer a few questions. We have a few more minutes. So I have one from Lucy. Can we generate the show notes for a specific edit? The answer is yes. So I'll show you quickly how to do that. You can go into here. Let's say in your edits, you can hover over any of these edits, click the Ask AI, and you can press show notes, and it'll generate that show note for you on that specific edit, which is great for things like timestamps for like chapter timestamps, because when you make your edits, those will obviously change. We have. There are a lot of questions, so I'm just trying to. Jules had asked, what do you think is the default EQ setting to use in general? I'm unfortunately going to give you the answer of that depends. It really does depend on maybe the sound issue that you're having. It could be the sound issue, or it could just be how your voice sounds. Like, for example, for me in the studio, I sat with somebody from our team and we fixed the mic settings for my voice. So some voices sound different, sound better with different EQ settings. So it's going to depend on you. But it's really just about sitting one day, and if you want it to be specifically for your voice instead of fixing an issue, sitting one day, testing different settings, and seeing which one you think sounds best for your voice. Let's go through. We are recording this as we do on Riverside, so you will get a recording of the session and be able to refer back to it to take any of these takeaways. So we have. Is there a way to change the volume of a clip without affecting the rest of the track? Ronnie.
So I guess you mean the volume of a specific part in the
Mhm.
edit, because maybe somebody was speaking low, far away from the mic, or too strong. So at the moment, no, but that's just a not yet. So stay tuned as usual. But I gotta say, if it's really critical, maybe as a workaround, you could just, if it's you're really blocked, just create an edit of just that part, change the volume, export it, and then replace the problematic part with the exported one, which has like the volume already set and burnt in.
That's exactly what I did the other day as a workaround. So I had my volume set very low by accident when I started, and then you lovely community members in the chat let me know, and then I turned it up. So part of my recording was very low, and then the other part was great. So what I did was I took just the part, isolated just the part where it was very low, changed the volume on that, exported it, and then added that kind of as like an intro with the plus button in the beginning. We had a question of where can you find the recording? So I'm going to put that in the chat for any of these sessions, but it's riverside.com/webinars. And in the chat, I'm also going to put our community in case you are not a part of our community. That is where we announce a lot of our new features, and so you kind of get the first to know about any of these new features as they come. Um, so we have that one. We have. Um, so when we record for 1.5 hours, then cut that recording into multiple episodes. The auto-generated magic clips are only for that main recording. Is there a way to generate magic clips based on that? And I don't want to give away what your team's working on, Ronnie, but I will just say that we are listening, and that is coming very soon. So we hear you on that. That's definitely a popular feature request. Um, so we also, is there a ducking feature coming from Jay?
Jay, we hear you, not quite yet, but stay tuned. Let's see.
Um, Jules asked, "How can I get an hour with just Ronnie? So much to learn." And I feel personally attacked by that, but that's okay. He has a lot more to teach you than I do. Ronnie will frame that one and put it on his desk. Great. I also want to take a moment when we have the last few minutes. And we are always listening to your feature requests, and we both get a lot out of hearing them. So if there's something that you would love to have in the editor or throughout Riverside that would make your experience that much better, I just encourage you to now drop it in the chat because I'm going to be putting all of that and analyzing all of it and making a list of different features that we want to add to the editor because that's really how, and Ronnie, you can attest to this too, like that's really how we're deciding what's coming in next is based on what we're hearing from all of you, what's important
Yes,
to all of
please.
you. Yeah, and like it's really, I love working at this company as a community manager because the feelings and thoughts and requests of this community are so heavily weighed. So um, that is it's really
We're
great
here
to
to
see all
solve
of
your
this.
problems. Yes.
Yes, and I see some of them, and the best part about when people have feature requests is seeing some of them come in that I'm like, we already have that coming. So, very exciting to see. And then we are almost at the top of the hour. So, I really quickly want to thank Ronnie, first of all. Never thought I'd do that. I'm kidding. Thank you, Ronnie, for joining this session.
Thank you
I've
for
even
having
learned
me.
a couple of tricks on here.
Thank
So,
you so much.
yeah, thanks so much for coming. And as you are all using these editor tips and tricks, please send them in the community. Let us know if there are some that really changed the game for you. Let us know if there are some features that you learned here that are particularly saving you a lot of time because that is first of all really great for us to know because it's important as we keep moving forward, but also selfishly we just really like to hear when the stuff that we're working on is really helping you continue on your passion and your growth and make something that you love. So we love to hear it. And I want to thank all of you who tuned in live, everyone who is tuning into the recording. And yeah, that's it for us. Thank you so much. I hope you guys got a lot out of the session, learned a lot, and can apply it to your own creations. So yeah, happy editing. Bye, everyone.